All right. What do you guys say? A little Saturday Night Live. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. We're going to run up a session here. I'm going to share this one out on X, formerly known as Twitter, real quick, letting everyone know that we are live for the night. Appreciate you guys. Let's run it up here. All right. What do you guys say? So what we're going to be doing tonight is running up a live session. I wanted to hang out with the community, have a little bit of fun on a Saturday night. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading off all of the comments on this post right here. So earlier today, I put out this little tweet, having a little fun on a Saturday. What do you say? I said, just be honest with me. Do you believe that XRP will hit $100 in our lifetime? And as you see there, I already got a response there from Baba Cugs, one from Patrick Riley. I'm going to get on into it, but what I want you guys to do, if you want to leave a comment, if you want me to read off your response, feel free to go drop a response on this tweet right now. I'm going to go through my current events and our market update, and then we're going to go through and I'm going to read all those responses and kind of get a community vibe check on how we actually think about $100 XRP. Some folks want to go way beyond. Some folks say we will even achieve all-time high ever again. And I wanted to have a little bit of fun with the community tonight. We see the market rallying here today. Love to see it. Little weekend pump. Young Quavo is back in the chat with a 5-spot. Young Quavo, I see you and I appreciate you. And I appreciate the rest of you guys. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because tomorrow morning I'm going to be dropping an update. Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP. Very popular question that I've received many times. This is my first time really talking about it publicly. Most of the time I've been having these chats about equity deals in the private group, but I am sharing my thoughts. Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP. That's going to be dropping tomorrow morning. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you appreciate the updates, let's make sure that we smash it. It really helps us, guys. I appreciate everyone. And let's get it rocking and rolling. As I said, the crypto market is back up today. 35,000 for your Bitcoin and an 1855 for Ethereum, while our XRP is back up to 62 and a quarter. 6223 is what I'm pulling right now. It's about 7 o'clock on the West Coast, so 10 o'clock Eastern. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from as we take a look at the charts back up today. Remember, this is your daily chart right here, and this is going to be the new day, November 5th. Okay, and this is the day that we just concluded. Most of us, call it Saturday, November 4th. Little bit of a pump, and we'll see where we go from here, up to 35,000 once again for your Bitcoin, 62 cents for XRP. Remember, the DXY got smacked to finish off the week. Absolutely smacked for the DXY to finish off the week, along with the 2-year, along with the 10-year. We see oil moving sideways. And we see silver broke out along with our gold, both breaking out. Silver back above 23 and gold back above 2,000. Absolutely love to see it. Now the stocks were up to finish off the week as well. This was the best week this year for the S&P 500. And that was off of the Fed pause. Once again, a second pause from Jerome Powell. Now, this is a breaking situation. Pro-Palestinian protesters are now climbing up on the White House fence as they throw objects at the Secret Service. This is a breaking report coming out of D.C. Currently, thousands of pro-Palestine supporters have gathered at the White House after today's large march against U.S. support for Israel. The protesters have packed together, occupying dozens of streets and marching to multiple places around the D.C. area. Now everyone is gathered at the White House, where pro-Palestinian protesters are climbing up the fence and shaking the northwest entrance fence, while also throwing objects at the Secret Service, with reports of smashed windows at McDonald's next to the White House. Let's confirm some of this, but right now we are watching it. We have vandalizing of the gate at the White House. Okay, so we're going to be watching this situation. This is breaking as we speak within the last hour here on a Saturday Night Live. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, a few current events things to go through before we get to $100 XRP. Now, we're also watching this on the world stage where Qatar and the rest of these countries are moving away with doing all of their energy and commodity deals outside of the US dollar. This is so key as we get a second 27-year gas supply deal with China's Sinopec. China and energy watch this closely. Well, we have been watching it closely, and it's very clear the trend is not your friend for the American people. This is why I've been, so urgent with my warnings to the community. I want folks to save their 401k retirement account before we see us take another 10-20% haircut as we continue the worst crash in history for bonds, equity correction just beginning, and essentially you have a handful of stocks that are the only ones really up in any sort of way that matters. Otherwise, you're basically flatlined and much of the equities have already started to correct. And we're seeing a flight to quality right now. We're seeing a flight away from the US dollar, i.e. the trend is not your friend for a US citizen here trying to earn your living in US dollars and save US dollars, trying to buy a piece of real estate here in the US when our economy is starting to crumble. But the mainstream media only runs with talking head pundits that are going to show you the 401ks program and, the Wall Street program of just hang tight, stay in your bonds, have a good time, and everything will work out. And what's interesting is that you're seeing some of the biggest money in the world has been piling into U.S. bonds and making a bunch of money doing it. And when you have 150 something billion worth of cash to deploy, you got to play it a little bit different of a game, right? And so that's why we're watching right now as Berkshire Hathaway posts 40% surge in operating earnings and record cash of 157 billion. 80% of the cash is yielding 5%. Warren Buffett is the undefeated GOAT. So he went in here and apparently he's been doing short-term T-bills, not the 10-year, not the 30-year, but short-term, 2-year maybe at most, and then even shorter duration. And he's getting these yields at 5%. And when you're getting a yield at 5% on 150 billion, you're going to be doing just fine. And at that level of a portfolio, you're willing to essentially break even after inflation. Remember, with the bonds, everybody wants to watch Warren, the Oracle of Omaha, with $157 billion portfolio that Berkshire Hathaway has to manage here. And that's just their cash, right? That's a different allocation that needs to be made versus us, Joe Blow, with $500, right? We have a different situation and everybody's watching this. And so you're seeing a lot of sentiment of, oh, I should just pile into bonds right now. Okay, well, you got to take your real rate of return when you're considering this allocation, because many folks see this right here and they're thinking, oh, Warren Buffett's making 5% on his money. What a genius. The Oracle of Omaha. But his real rate of return is really not that great, right? Even if we just accepted the government CPI Live phony fake data of a 3.7% inflation, right? You're still at a real loss of over 1%, right? Or I should say a gain. You have a net gain of 1% after inflation. But you and me know, and even Warren Buffett knows when he goes to pick up his cheeseburger every day at McDonald's or whatever he does, that the cost of everything is going up much more than 3 and 4% year over year. True inflation's at 10 to 20%. And so when we go to make any of our allocations, remember, I'm not here to be your financial advisor, but for me, I want to be making 10 to 20% minimum just to know that I'm breaking even. You got your cost of inflation and everything else considered. You need to be at 10 to 20% just to even be breaking even. I think the 5% yield, okay, that's nice for someone that has $150 billion to protect, right? You just don't want to lose money at that point. Versus someone like myself, I'm not at the end of my runway like Warren Buffett. I can take on a little bit more risk. So we need to understand our risk tolerance and our investment objectives with every single investment that we're making, whether that be XRP going to $100, whether that be gold going somewhere, whether that be your equity stocks, or if you're considering bonds for short-term protection. I get it, I do get it. And that's why Warren Buffett and others are piling in. Now, this is what's been really fascinating to watch this past week, is the Western markets for gold corrected back up to where the Shanghai Futures Exchange was trading at. There was a premium on the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Watch this closely too with XRP, by the way. You have your US dollar, your USDT pair for most cryptos. You have your US dollar pair for most commodities. But you have to understand that gold's already back to all-time high in 6 other major currencies. So we're already back to all-time high, and we're just getting started for our gold. And this is put together nicely here by Eric Young. He says, has anyone noticed that the Shanghai Gold Exchange physical gold premiums versus the West have dropped from around 6% to 1.5%? So essentially, when gold was at $1,900 here in the US on the COMEX paper market, it was trading at $2,000 over in the Shanghai Futures Exchange, right? And that's not even including your premium. That was just a premium when you're looking at the markets, Shanghai Futures versus the COMEX. The discrepancy, the arbitrage. Well, that gap has widened. And guess what? It wasn't the Shanghai Futures Exchange going down. It was the Western paper markets going up. This is while the gold price at the West rose from around 1830. We went all the way down to 1800 last month to $2,000. So Jan is wrong yet again. Western gold price rose to meet the price of actual physical gold in China. China's pricing of physical gold is the real price of gold. This is what's so great about this new market that we live in, this global market, where everything is a flight to real quality right now, and price discovery is being achieved, and it's being accelerated because other countries, right, and with physical commodities like this, you have a real physical demand. What is somebody willing to pay to take possession of the metal versus what is someone willing to pay for a derivative in a paper contract, an option? That's what we have over here in the West that has kept our market, suppressed for so long. But you're seeing that it's breaking out right now in China and in 6 other currencies. If it was just China, I'd say, okay, maybe you got a little manipulation going on here. This will surely correct, which clearly the arbitrage did, that gap did close. Not that Shanghai Futures Exchange went down. US COMEX went up to 2,000 per ounce to tighten that arbitrage. But this is what's so beautiful about this new world that we enter, is we get to go into price discovery, and the sky is the limit for these assets. And to lead us on into this conversation, is XRP going to be going to $100? I thought that Rick Rule put this together so well on why one would buy gold. And think of how this applies to XRP as well. He talks about he doesn't buy gold because he wants it to go to 2,100. He buys gold because he's afraid it's going to go to 6,000 to 8,000. Now, that I can relate to that one. I buy XRP not because I want it to go to $5 or $10 or even $50. I buy XRP because I'm worried that this thing could go to $100 and beyond. And I know what type of reality we're talking about. We are talking about the phoenix rising from the ashes, literally. And Rick Rule puts this together so well. I'm going to play this clip right here.
Gold, because I think I don't own gold, because I think it might go from $1,900 to $2,100. I own gold because in the 1970s it went from $35 to $850. Because in the decade 2000 to 2010 it went from $250 to $1,900. I own gold because I'm afraid it's going to go to $6,000 or $8,000, rather than because I hope it goes to $2,100. I don't own gold.
And because I couldn't agree more. That is just so spot on. I don't own silver because I want it to go to $50 or $100, right? I buy silver because I'm worried that it's going to go to $100 and beyond. I buy XRP because I'm worried it's going to go to $100 and beyond, right? This is us going into price discovery versus fiat fake printed money. We don't even know how many derivatives there are that represent a claim, that's a US dollar representation, right? A US dollar paired derivative. That's what we're talking about. And when you see that XRP is not just meant for cross-border payments, but XRP is intended for all the money, and it is going to handle some derivatives. And when you look at IOUs, issued assets on the XRP ledger right now, for all intents and purposes, and by any standard definition, you are trading a derivatives. You are creating a derivative. When you issue an asset on the XRPL, it is a derivative of something else. Now, if I launch Zach token on the XRPL and I say that it's backed by nothing, but it's backed by, you can say you own Zach coin, that's a derivative of that, essentially. And so when you're going to see gold tokenized on the XRPL, you're going to see real estate tokenized on the XRPL, bonds, equities, everything, including derivatives, right? This is why we say XRP is ready for all the money. The company Ripple focused on cross-border payments in these niche markets to begin with, but simultaneously talking with the largest players in the space for trading securities. And you're talking about the R3, DTCC. They've been sitting at the table with the BIS. They're about to sit at the table once again with the BIS, with the Treasury, with the FCA, with Gary Gensler. That's right. Gary Gensler, Brad Garlinghouse, both set to be keynote speakers at DC FinTech Week coming up this week, right before Brad and Team Ripple, right before they take off on the jet to go to Dubai, right? And this is starting the worldwide roadshow that Ripple's putting on here. I'm going to be talking about Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP in tomorrow's video, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. But I wanted to talk about this one. I wanted to read some of the community's comments on whether or not folks actually believed that XRP could go to $100, right? So the initial tweet is this one right here. And if you're not already following me on Twitter, make sure you do so. We just surpassed, I think, 25,000 followers over there on Twitter. So we're just getting started on that platform. But I asked this question. I said, just be honest with me. Do you believe XRP will hit $100 in our lifetime? And this person right here set this comment, and I wanted to start with this one. They said, that's a $4 trillion market cap. Apple is at $3 trillion. And the reason why I wanted to start with that is because I talk about the market cap of Apple, Amazon, and there's now 6 companies that actually have market caps over $1 trillion. Apple was the first company to surpass a $1 trillion market cap in 2018. And I was talking about that in relation to Ripple, and the potential for that company to, achieve even just a fraction of that type of valuation on what that would do, what kind of opportunity that is. It's pretty incredible. Now, in regards to applying market cap to a utility token, that's main utility would be liquidity, is missing half the picture. And I've always talked about this. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but it's very simple with the market cap calculation. You are not comparing apples to apples properly, right? You're comparing equity in a stock. You're comparing value of a commodities market like gold, and you're trying to compare that to a token. Excuse me. That's main utility is liquidity. So you have to have a different equation for that. I've come up with the equation liquidity value, and it's where you take the amount of the token that you have, the price that it's at, how quickly you can settle those transactions and use the same tokens over and over again. And so I've done the math on XRP on, if there's only 10 billion XRP available for liquidity, what price would you need that at to move $1 trillion worth of value daily, right? And the reason why I think that many people miss on XRP price predictions is because they're assuming that there's going to be 100 billion tokens. They don't understand that there's already 10 million tokens that have been burned. Now, consider that 10 million tokens have already been burned in an era of not much utility. Little bit of utility, little something. But we're about to see a massive amount of utility and DeFi coming to the XRPL after we get the AMM, after we get the clawback. We have a few other amendments that are being proposed right now. And we're about to eat up a lot of the liquidity in the space because we have the legal certainty that XRP in and of itself is not a security. When you add the additional utility and you compare, the XRP ledger to the incumbent big platform like Ethereum, it's no competition. It's not even close. When you compare it to a Bitcoin, they both have a store of value function and utility, but what separates XRP from a Bitcoin is it actually has real utility. Bitcoin only has a store of value, which is a subjective term depending on when you bought it at. But if you want to give it credit for that, we can give it credit for that. And that's why I think that you can apply the market cap calculation and get somewhat of a projection for the future price of Bitcoin, because its only utility is store of value. Now, when you look at even a gold, right? Gold has store of value, but it also does have additional utilities as well. It's not as big as silver, but you even have to add something else to that equation when you come up with gold's market cap, right? Gold got to the 10 trillion market cap based off of a store of value and other real world utilities. So folks want to say that Bitcoin's going to make it to a $10 trillion market cap based off of store of value and no other utility. And I mean, we'll see if it ends up being a store of value. Looks like it might get another, good run up here. It's, been doing really well this year, from 15,500 last November. And in the last year, we've gone up about 130% all the way up here to 35,000. So Bitcoin's done something. XRP is going to do a lot more. We cannot apply just the market cap equation to XRP price speculation. And of course, that's what it is, speculation. But let's have a little bit of fun. I don't shy away from these conversations. And I reiterate that I'm not here to be anybody's financial advisor. And for me, I'm going to go through these comments. I want to see what you guys have to say. I wanted to lighten up the mood. Let's have a little bit of fun here. So drop some comments down below for me. I'm going to start to read off these comments on what folks had to say about $100 XRP. But I think that XRP Crypto Wolf hit it on the head right here. He says, one day XRP holders are going to look back at everything they went through and just laugh, because in the end, it was all worth it. I agree. And the other thing I wanted to add was this post here from Judy Shelton. In the gold room at the Mount Washington Hotel, where the Bretton Woods Agreement for a gold-anchored international monetary system based on U.S. dollar convertibility was hammered out in July 1944. See, for me, I think this new system, it does go back to gold-anchored, but I also believe that it goes back to XRP anchored and settled, right? It's going to be XRP anchored, an XRP anchored international monetary system that settles on the XRP ledger, that's not based on US dollar convertibility, but is based on settlement on the XRP ledger. That is what is coming, right? A gold and XRP anchored international monetary system that is based on settlement on the XRP ledger, and sure, Stellar and a couple others might get a little piece of the action too. Okay, we'll give them a little something, right? And like I said, we got trillions of dollars to move on a daily basis. We have quadrillions of dollars within the derivatives market. We don't even know how much we have in derivatives. So when these ledgers can just get a little slice of this action, we go somewhere pretty fun, right? And that's what I wanted to get out of the way before I start to go through these comments. And like I said, if you aren't already, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. Let's run through it. Do you believe XRP will hit $100 in our lifetime? Hold up. I see we got a super chat from Thomas. Thomas with a 10 spot. XRP goes up, then retraced and up higher. By the time people realize it will moon, they will be too late. All the naysayers were wrong about the lawsuit. They are wrong about price predictions. Yeah, that's the thing that I've been warning about, is although XRP is going to go to a very high price, in my opinion, the pullback is going to be violent. I've always said that. And by the way, a little sneak peek, it's the same thing that I'm saying for the Ripple pre-IPO. Same thing is going to happen when that Ripple IPO happens. It is going to be massive. Ripple is going to be the darling of the cryptocurrency space. Wall Street won't be able to get enough of it. And there's going to be a lot of people pouring in. At the same time, folks are going to find that exit liquidity, just like they are with XRP. So watch out for that one. Now, let's get into it. $100 XRP in our lifetime. Let's see what Baba Cugs has to say. Mathematics suggests it has to, if it is to serve the purpose of its creation. I couldn't agree more. And that's why I was, explaining the market cap versus the liquidity value. Folks are only doing half the equation when they do a market cap calculation, right? They're trying to do a market cap calculation on a company like Apple when we needed to be doing a liquidity value. A daily volume of 5 trillion at Swift is what we run with, 14 trillion at ACI worldwide, and you have about 2 trillion moving within the United States on a daily basis. There's plenty of money moving around on a daily basis, right? And Patrick Riley, it will. Belief has nothing to do with it. How about that? And I couldn't agree more, right? It's just like Rick Rule said. It's not that I am buying XRP because I want it to go. I believe that it can go to $100. I'm worried that it's going to go to $100, and I know what that means. And we see our good friend Echo come in. Market Cap Bros trigger warning, $100. You know it. I am a firm believer in XRP. We'll be hitting $10,000 in our lifetime. If you think of how much money it will unlock in sourcing liquidity at lightning speed, no pun intended on the Lightning Network, complete failure. Lightning speed, you can grow the global GDP that much faster. More growth equals more value. And that's what I was talking about. You guys will see in tomorrow's update on Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP is that we really can't even track how big the market for the addressable market is going to be for Ripple, because they continue to make acquisitions like Medico that are other verticals. And that's really going to expand that main infrastructure that Ripple's building out as a company and the services and products that they can offer. Plus, they're similar to Amazon, right? Where Amazon started with just selling books, online bookstore, and then they expand out to selling everything you can think of on their platform, software as a service. There's all sorts of, web hosting. There's all sorts of things that Amazon is doing now. And so that's what I see coming down the pike for Ripple as well. Now, I like this one a lot from John Ferguson, our good friend Johnny from our Discord family. He says, out of my control. This is so important. Such a great point by Johnny. This is why he's so on point. We have to focus on what we can control. So whether or not XRP is going to go to $100 or not, I have never been in the camp of, let's just buy 10,000 XRP and we're going to be set. That's all you have to do because XRP goes to $100. That's never been part of our program. And I've been trying to explain this to a lot of folks. We get a lot of haters and they come in, they just don't understand what all we cover and how much our program is about all of the different asset classes now. I analyze every single asset class and market, and then I also break down the current events. And then we talk about our businesses. We talk about investing in all of the asset classes, and we talk about, spiritual conversations. We talk about health. We talk about prepping. We talk about getting real deals done. We're talking about real estate, right? So we've never been in the camp of park some XRP and you're good to go. That's never been it. In fact, we really focus our program on when we do come into these higher prices for these suppressed assets, we want to have a plan and set so that we aren't thinking emotionally, so that we're not caught up on what's Twitter's getting stirred up about getting caught up in the pump, getting caught up in some laser eyes, that we forget to take our exits, that we forget to make our moves as XRP does go up, as these other assets begin to go up, as we go into the next bull run. The next bull run begins in the next year, in my opinion. And so this is why we got to be, focusing on what we can control. We can't control whether XRP goes to $100 or not. Should we sit here all night talking about it? No. But we are going to sit here and have an adult beverage and have a good time talking about it for a little bit. And then it's right back to work tomorrow. This is what we do here. Appreciate you guys for dropping the comments down below. Now we get another one from our good friend T's Crypto Spot. He says, absolutely. I like that answer. That's straight to the point. Absolutely. Bond Crip, good friend. Absolutely. Lady K, yes. I gotta like that one. Yes, but casualty is what I ponder. Is the USD suddenly worthless, or is massive institutional XRP buying happening? How about a little bit of both, right? That's what I see. That's exactly what I see. Either could make it happen much more quicker than the 5-ish years I think it would otherwise take, or 2 more full bull cycles, whichever of the 3 comes first. So that was a yes, right? And I would agree. We got someone right here calling us crazy with a tinfoil hat, right? Welcome to another day in the Matrix, tagging Waters Above Crypto, right? I don't know how high Waters Above thinks XRP goes. That'd be interesting to know. I haven't been able to ask Jordan when I had him on the show, but we had a great conversation with Waters Above about XRP. This person says, without a doubt and beyond. Good morning, Zach. Silly question. Beyond, way beyond. That's RCBS Ventures. Mr. Cheesecake, that depends on if you pass tomorrow or not. XRP Spalding, yes, 3 times. Rocky Morningside, overnight. ticket to the moon? No, but hopefully I can leave some for my children to see it hit triple digits. Now, this I have respect for. I did like that one because I get it. And this is why I've been very clear. You have folks that are 60, 70 years old, even older. We have some oldies in the Patreon community. God bless them. We love them. Age is just a number, right? You know, it's all about your spirit, your soul, and how much dang XRP you can stack before you croak, right? God willing. That's why I respect it and why I get it, why folks have a plan. You know, I'm going to sell off half my bag at $10 because I'm 70 years old, you know, and I need to, you know, have something to live on here. There's going to be a lot of folks that are selling. There's folks that are selling off right now. This has been my worst fear. And I knew that I couldn't stop it. I knew I could do my part, but you're seeing it right now. Folks are having to sell off right now. On top of folks are going to move their target, right? Initial target was I'm holding my XRP till 10,000. And then it comes down to I'm holding my XRP till 100. And then it's going to come down to at $10, they sell their whole bag because life happens. And that's okay. I have sympathy for that. I hope that doesn't happen. I pray it doesn't. But this is life. This is business plan. And you want a good metaphor on that? Show me a business plan that's failed on paper. You can't. Because every single business plan shows a successful business. It's all going to be great. But 9 out of 10 businesses fail. So how much is your business plan worth? So that's the same thing with our plan right here, right? We are going to be going through the chaos for a while here. I think that even though we get a beginning of a next bull run next year, the world's going to be burning down and smoldering for a while, metaphorically and literally, right? Now let's continue on. We got this person. What does your folder say, Mr. Rector? I know you know the answer to that question, LMAO. That's right. We got the red folder. And I posted that earlier today. I said, I wonder how big, I wonder what Steven Narioff has in his folder, right? He's got a whole case of the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the SEC, basically framing him, fabricating a complete lie about him, and he got the case dismissed on prejudice. Excuse me. And so it's so funny that we took so much crap for the red folder. Now, 1 year later, well, now everybody's talking about what are the damages. Everybody's pissed off that it's taken this long for XRP to, get out of the case. Everybody's still mad about price. Well, that's all part of damages. And so what's in the red folder? What's in the red folder is a much higher price than 60 cents. If we wouldn't have had the lawsuit filed against Ripple, the executives, and had every single secondary sale also included in the lawsuit. And if it wasn't for great companies like Uphold that allowed little U.S. citizens like myself to load up, I don't know if I would have been able to get much XRP. Now, I guess I can't say that because I've been stacking a bunch of XRP. I take all my trading profits on KuCoin. At least while I was on KuCoin, I was taking all my trading profits, shorting Bitcoin and loading up on XRP. And then I got it off of KuCoin before they figured out where I was at, and then they killed me. But yeah, no, that's where we're at with the damages. It's just far beyond all-time high if we wouldn't have been in the lawsuit. So the damages right there could be hundreds of billions of dollars. I say you could even go up to $1 trillion. I mean, you have $200 million in damages done just the lawsuit on Ripple's behalf of their legal fees. That's $200 million in legal fees, let alone damages to market cap, partnerships, and what have you. And so what does my folder say about $100 XRP? Somewhere between 60 cent and $100 XRP would have for sure happened in an alternative reality where the SEC wouldn't have came after us. That's what the folder says. So let's continue on. This person, Travis, says yes. Richie Rich says, according to David, it can't be dirt cheap. Ashish Burla or someone in a seminar said all the money. So it's very feasible, I would say. Actually, the all the money quote came from Stefan Thomas in regards to Interledger Protocol. That was the original all the money quote. It was from Interledger Protocol. I don't know if that was Stefan Thomas. I think it was Stefan Thomas. Maybe it was somebody. It was someone from Interledger though, which Interledger Protocol is for all the money. And with XRP, you also can tap into Interledger Protocol, and you can achieve trillions of transactions per second. So there's no limit there, right? Now, Neon Pony says, without question and sooner than later, if Solana can, XRP will surpass it. That's what's crazy to me, is how high some of these coins have gone as far as how much market cap they've acquired and commanded. And that was the other point that I wanted to make on market cap, is that we thought that we had 3 trillion, right? 3 trillion overall cryptocurrency market cap. Do you think that if everybody went to hit the sell button at that point, that we would have been able to pull 3 trillion of liquidity out of crypto? I'll tell you right now, the answer is a big fat no. And if we would have been able to, if we could have, we would have. And the reason why we couldn't have is because it's a myth. It's a feel-good data point. That's what market cap is. So when we looked at the overall cryptocurrency market cap at 3 trillion, we thought we achieved something cute. And then here we are back down. We went below $1 trillion market cap at one point last year. So it's a feel-good data point, and it's also a facade. It's also just a made-up number, really. Because when you go to actually apply that number to reality, when put it to a practical use, you will not pull 3 trillion out of that market cap. That's why you can only put so much weight on that. And so that's another reason why there's no limit. You can't say, oh, the market cap of XRP can't go to 10 trillion because that's blah, 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 whatever your story you're telling yourself. Well, that 10 trillion is not even real. It never was, never will be, and it's definitely not a cap on the price of XRP or any other asset for that matter that has a real utility of liquidity and a fixed supply and a way less smaller supply that's actually going to be available for liquidity. That's the kicker. That's the part of the equation that everybody's missing. Now, Son of Alpha says, we've seen Bitcoin go up. We've seen Ethereum go up. Why not XRP? And that's what we have to remind ourselves of, is that XRP already surpassed Ethereum market cap once. That's already been done once. Why can't we do it again? If we surpassed Ethereum, why can't we surpass Bitcoin? I got to say that just to trigger the Bitcoin bros. The Justin Gilmore says, probably sometime between 2025 and 2030, but definitely within my lifetime. And I like this. I like, not even necessarily thinking of dates, right? We have to have a long view on this thing as far as that goes. But you also have to consider that we're at 100+% inflation in countries like Argentina, right? And so you can go look at the Turkish lira to XRP. It's already back to all-time high. You can look at just like you can gold with the other 6 major currencies that it's already back at all-time high with. You can go look at XRP compared to other currencies too. Now, there's not as many pairs. Like the Turkish lira XRP pair is from Binance, and I don't know how many other exchanges even have that currency pair. So it's a very tight, it's not really that great of a representation, but it does make the point that you are valuing this against each individual fiat currency. And these currencies are devaluing at varying rates, but you take your pick from, 3 to 5%. We did 3% all the way up to 9% last year was where inflation peaked out at. And then you look at other countries, they're all the way up at 20. I mean, even the UK got above 10%. You look at a lot of other countries, though, 20, 30%, Argentina, 100%, Venezuela already destroyed their currency, had to reset, Zimbabwe already there's many other countries that already completely destroyed it. They already went through wheelbarrows full of cash to go buy the loaf of bread. And that happens in the blink of an eye, relatively speaking. So, I like the timeline expectations being stretched out and being patient. And as my good friend Johnny says, it's not in our control. Focus on what's in our control while we have a little speculation session here tonight. Now, I wanted to respond to this one. OC, Pet Doctor. He says, no, period. Other coins will rise. It will become dated for one reason or another. No monopoly in crypto will exist without the government having their hands on it. So he's running with the assumption that XRP would have to have a monopoly on crypto to run up to $100. I don't believe that. I mean, I believe that this tide lifts all boats that have a solid foundation, that have a solid hole with no holes in it, right? Their boat ain't going to sink during this liquidity crisis, and they're actually going to make it through. You're going to see a lot of other coins go up too. There's going to be so much value represented on these ledgers that the sky's the limit for not just XRP, but for many others as well. I focus on XRP because the company Ripple is far ahead of any other cryptocurrency company in the space as far as getting institutions to use this DLT technology. Not just consulting. See, it goes so much further. A lot of these other crypto companies, okay, they're sitting down with the who's who. They're showing up for a conference, for a fireside chat. They did a photo op. They did something cute with somebody that matters. Can you get somebody that matters to use your token? That's the difference between Ripple, XRP, and any of these other tokens that you can think of or name. Let's see what else we got. Okay, this one was interesting from Bell. I think there are far better potential cryptos to be focusing on for the next bull run. My gut tells me not to trust Brad Garlinghouse or Joel Katz. Do I have a bag? Yes. Will I be selling before $100? Hell yes. And that's fine. That's respect. If you don't want to trust Brad and Joel Katz, David Schwartz, that's fine, right? To me, I mean, Brad Garlinghouse is a Kansas boy through and through. Got to be in the room with them a couple times, and he's just a regular guy. And he just happens to be, part of the club there with Ripple. They're definitely in there with the elite and with those who are moving the world. But I have full trust behind these guys because they have the biggest incentive for XRP to go to a higher price, right? The article written about David Schwartz, the $1 trillion man. I'm sure that David maybe didn't necessarily like all that publicity. I don't know what he thought about that headline. But, I mean, these guys have the biggest incentive, including the company Ripple, for XRP to go to a higher price. So I think their whole business model right now is using the sales of XRP, yes, to fund their business, but they're also getting an ROI out of those sales of XRP because they're putting it into the hands of institutions that are going to be using XRP for utility, putting XRP to work, tokenizing real estate, tokenizing bonds, equities, and everything else imaginable on DLT technology and getting them to do this on XRP. This is critical, and this is why they play an important role. It doesn't bug me that they're making money off of selling XRP because they're not just selling XRP out onto the open market where me and, basically retail has to find the money to go buy it. No, they're going to institutions where it's not even hitting the public market's radar. This is what we have to understand for the demand side of XRP. We have no idea. All we can see right now is that XRP is getting released to Ripple $1 billion per month from the escrow to Ripple, and Ripple is returning $700 to $800 million per month back into escrow where it gets time locked for another 55 months. So Ripple can't touch it for another 4+ years. That's believing in the future of XRP if I've ever seen it. I mean, show me that you believe in XRP. Having $1 billion in your possession each month and sending $800 million back to escrow where it's locked up for nearly 5 years, that's conviction in the investment, right? And this is what I'm talking about, the $200 to $300 million that they are selling. They've sold billions of XRP, billions of dollars worth of XRP this year already, but you're seeing that it's only going to ODL partners. It's only going to Ripple payment partners. These are institutions that are already putting that XRP to use. And maybe some of them, maybe, just maybe, don't we dare speculate that maybe some of them are treating XRP like a reserve currency on their balance sheet, just like Ripple is. Or at least maybe not even as a reserve currency, but as a long-term hold, right? They don't have to be crazy reserve currency types like me to put it on their balance sheet and say, we're going to ride this asset up. In fact, I think it's part of the program to save some of these biggest banks and institutions that are basically, would be bust if they had to mark to market some of their positions and allocations right now, i.e. their bonds that, Bank of America, Ripple partner, $131 billion of unrealized losses on their bonds. They need a solution. And so the reason why I've been making the case that Bank of America needs XRP and why even Brad themselves, they're saying that Bank of America is looking to use XRP after the lawsuit for a competitive advantage isn't for just more efficient cross-border payments. It's for treasury management as well. This is just like Warren Buffett with his $157 billion worth of cash, and he needs to figure out how to get a return. And so he's been piling into short-term T-bills where he's getting paid 5%, right? That's treasury management. Well, Bank of America has $131 billion unrealized losses just on their bonds, over $500 billion worth of unrealized losses just on the banks in America, not including the central banks. Remember what we just covered in the last show about the Bank of England is about to get bailed out by the UK Treasury to the tune of over $100 billion. 100 billion pounds, I should say. How'd that program work out for Bank of England? Same problem. And Bank of Japan doing the same thing. How are they going to fight inflation? More inflation. And this is why I say the sky's the limit for XRP and these other suppressed assets like gold and silver as we find and we go into price discovery. And it's part of revaluing all of these assets, all of these commodities. Not against the US dollar, but it would have to be against a reset US dollar. A, gold anchored system awaits us. When do we get that fully realized? I think it might be a while longer here. I think that we have a ways to go, right? But that's not going to stop us from entering that next bull run coming up next year. Now, this person, Toasty, says, I think within 5-ish years, 2 cycles, current and next. That's a good prediction. I like that, right? Not necessarily this first run up. There's going to be a lot of excitement as we go up to new all-time highs, back up to $10. But then, I think we come back down. And then during that next cycle, you betcha. I don't see why not. If you, of all people, need to ask that question, we have a problem. Well, I just wanted to have a little bit of fun with the community. I know what I hold. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm crazy with my XRP, right? Don't joke, this crypto space is still very small. Absolutely possible. CC says, in a blink of an eye. XRP Lightworker says it will hit 1,000 in the next 12 months. Unbelievable. CryptoCat589 says, you obviously don't believe in the buyback. I like that one. Yeah, we got a bunch of comments. The real question is, with everything pointing towards its massive adoption, how could it not? Please research documentaries like The Rise of Bitcoin and others. Bitcoin was simply a snapshot of what the rest of the projects that solve actual problems are going to do. And that's what it's about for me, right? I think that for $100 XRP, I don't like to sit here and say that there's no way that it could ever happen. It's impossible. I don't like to use never, and I don't like to use impossible when I talk about $100 XRP, when I talk about $1,000 XRP. In fact, I've actually said in the past, and this is my current position, is that the US dollar gets reset probably before we even get to $100 XRP, let alone $1,000 XRP, right? We understand what reality we would be living in if XRP were to go to a $50 price, to a $100 price. That would be something else. It wouldn't be the current environment that we live in. And your loaf of bread that's, gone up about 100% probably in the last 2 to 3 years, right? Your $4 loaf of bread that now costs you $8, whatever the case may be, right? Our $2 gas that now costs us $5 per gallon. This is going to be, exponentially growing the inflation along with XRP's price. The reason why I believe in this end game for the US dollar, and to tie this whole thing together for you guys, they are not going to, it appears that they don't want to declare a default. They don't want to declare a bankruptcy. They may have to be forced to. But in the meantime, the way that they're getting by paying back these liabilities is simply printing money. There's different forms of liquidity injection. There's different forms of inflation that they're using. But at the end of the day, it's all inflation. It's all more digits in the system. And that is going to lead to basically a price discovery spiral to much, much higher prices over the coming decade. And these currencies, devalue fastest towards the end, right? For me, the XRP situation right now has been pushed back at least 3 to 4 years by the lawsuit. 3 years of a lawsuit, but much of the plans here were pushed back at least a few years, right? And so when you understand that, it gives you some patience. When you understand that we're in the middle of a very, very tight bear market recession, and although crypto is set to break out in the next bull run, a lot of people are going to need to hit the exit off ramp. They're going to need to hit the off ramp because they're going to be turning on their blinkers because they had to turn the key on their business. They had to sell their real estate. They had to get out of student loan debt because Biden wasn't able to forgive it. So, Supreme Court struck it down. Whatever the reason may be, folks are going to be forced to hit that off ramp on top of they're just going to be losing conviction, right? The longer this goes on, the faster we go back. And you got to think about it. When you shoot a bow and arrow, right? You pull that thing back and you build up that tension. And the longer we suppress this thing, the more we're pulling back that tension. But as soon as you let it go, it can never be brought back. There's no way to bring that thing back, right? And it never will be a full, complete boomerang where, say, we go up to $10 XRP and then we come back down to 50 cents. That doesn't happen. But what does happen is we shoot that thing, it's going to go, and it's going to hit something, bounce back, and then it's going to stabilize from there. Before we get, really set off here, over the next decade, we have estimates that put, $30 trillion flowing into crypto from the most conservative researchers, white papers, and groups around the world. Think tanks, research analysts, everyone. From Wall Street to the IMF to the BIS, all the most conservative predictions is that we get well over 10 trillion by 2030, and we could even be approaching 30 trillion. How much of XRP, how much of that is going to go into XRP, we shall see. But for me, I like to focus on what I can control on a daily basis right now. Don't just wait for XRP Moon. Let's make sure we're building. And XRP is one of many investments that we expect to get, at least a 10 bagger out of, right? If you buy XRP today at 6 cents to make 10x returns, right? We need to go to $6. I think that's very easy. That's very conservative. And that's the bare minimum that I'm expecting with XRP, right? Is to go to a $10 price. When I think of XRP, when I think of gold and silver, these assets can go to, I think, we saw 2,000% returns. That's a 20 bagger, right? 10 bagger is a 1,000%. 20 bagger is a 2,000%, and that's what gold did. It went from about it was basically about $40 per ounce. Nixon takes us off the gold standard, and during the 1970s, it goes up 2,000% all the way up to $800. And then during the 2000s, right, we go from a couple $100 all the way up to 1,900. And so we're beginning the next historical move for gold. That's very clear. The digital asset space is new, and I think that folks can't wrap their mind around, and they're comparing it to the old markets and other, commodities. It makes more sense to compare it. You add in a valuation model that's based off of the commodity understanding, right, of a gold that has underlying utility and it has a monetary value, store of value. That's the same thing with XRP and these digital assets. But then you also have to add in that liquidity value equation similar to Swift, right? So it's like with Ripple's on-demand liquidity, they've only done, with RippleNet has only done about 30 billion in settlement since last year. That was the most recent tally. When you think about that, that is nothing, right? Swift does $5 trillion daily. ACI Worldwide does $14 trillion daily. The clearinghouse within the United States does $2 trillion daily. So, I mean, just within those few groups, you're literally talking about 20 trillion plus that's moving on a daily basis. And you're telling me since 2020, basically 2019, 2020, RippleNet has only done 30 billion? It's nothing. What's interesting to watch is we're watching a race right now between the digital yuan over there in China. They've done about 14 to 20 billion, I think, is the estimate that I have for you. It's basically 14 to 20 billion worth of settlement so far with the digital yuan, and they're getting more and more adoption for that. But then you see that RippleNet is slightly ahead at about 30 billion in settlement. So we're literally watching a currency race between XRP and the Chinese digital yuan as far as adoption goes. Now, I mean, take your pick. Do you want to do a deal with them, or do you want to do a deal with a neutral bridge reserve currency that has tremendous utilities, right? That is a truly neutral asset. The only other comparable is literally gold, is a silver, right? And so this is the setup right now that I see with XRP. There's no reason why it can't go to some of these prices. And like Rick Rule said, I'm scared that it's going to, and what the implications of that are for the rest of the world around us. I mean, when you think of how small our group is, by the way, they're not concerned at all about a few of us Joe Blows getting a little extra spending money. And the main reason why is because there's not that many of us, and because they know that we're going to be stupid with our money. And that's why I have been talking about assembling your exit strategy, putting together relationships around you of tax professionals, legal professionals, wealth advisors that can help guide you through actually putting together a program and a plan. And we also want to put together asset protection so that when we do come into some money, not only are we going to make it, but we're going to protect it. And then we can figure out how to multiply it, because XRP is not the only way that I plan on making money in my lifetime. It's just one of many ways. And it's not even going to be probably the biggest way, as a matter of fact, right? I mean, maybe, sure, if it does, I'd be happy, right? But I'm not banking on that being the one and only deal. And that's the only words of encouragement that I have, is I don't hate on folks that think that XRP is going to go to $1,000 or $10,000. My only, caveat that I add is, well, or the question I ask is, well, what are you doing in the meantime? Do you have a side hustle? Are you going to be able to keep your job through this recession? Do you have any plans for real estate? Where are you at with equities? Right? Do you have any hedge? Do you have an insurance policy? And do you have any precious metals? What is the program and plan? Have you done any prepping? I mean, right? I mean, when we have these conversations, when we talk about moon dates and when we solve riddles, that's all fun, fine, and dandy. But at the end of the day, we've been talking about going through a storm, and that's exactly what we got over the last couple of years here. This bear market that started in 2022 continued through this year. And, relatively speaking, we've had a great recovery for Bitcoin. We've seen XRP, one of the most manipulated asset classes in the world, really wearing on people, because it faked us all out with Judge Torres' victory, July 13th. XRP in and of itself is not a security, and we went all the way to $1. And this is what's killing people about XRP. And I get, people are mad that I'm even having a session titled Honest $100 XRP Prediction. Well, why can't we have an honest conversation about this, right? I think that it's completely appropriate. And if you've listened to the show, it has not been I'm guaranteeing that XRP is going to 589. It's about encompassing XRP into our complete strategy for building wealth. That is our program here, right? Let me take some questions from the chat here on YouTube tonight. I see we got quite a few people here. What do I think about $100 XRP? I do think it will happen. I think it's very simple. I think that we get $100 XRP or we get a US dollar reset, restructuring of the debt, reset of the dollar, revalue of everything around us. And I do think that we get that potentially before we get to $100 XRP. That's what's interesting. And that's where, for me, 1 XRP will always be 1 XRP. 1 ounce of gold will always be 1 ounce of gold. How will that relate to US dollars? Well, we're about to find out. How will it relate to the fiat currencies around the world? I think it will always be growing in value as long as you pair it up against the fiat, currency that will be devalued by the government that controls it. Or, in the case of many governments, the central bank that controls the currency. That's the biggest lie here. is that this is even a real US dollar issued by our treasury like it's supposed to be. What do I think about Caspa? I have heard about it. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I have not done significant research on it, though. Now, I want to play this clip again because I thought this one was so perfect here. Why would you buy gold? Apply this to XRP. It's not because we want XRP to go to 589. It's because we're worried that XRP might go to 589. Let's listen in on this clip here from Rick Rule. Why would one buy gold?
I don't own gold because I think it might go from $1,900 to $2,100. I own gold because in the 1970s, it went from $35 to $850. Because in the decade 2000 to 2010, it went from $250 to $1,900. I own gold because I'm afraid it's going to go to $6,000 or $8,000, rather than because I hope it goes to $2,100. I don't own gold.
Now, I was so impressed with Rick Rule when I saw him in Vancouver at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. His sessions were actually some of the best. Actually, every panel that he was on, and then he actually also hosted a panel on doing due diligence on basically private equity investments, which was so perfect, right? Because it was when I was just learning about investing in private equity. So, by the way, guys, remember tomorrow's update is going to be Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP. You're not going to want to miss that one. If you guys haven't already, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe up, hit that notification bell. What are you guys working with in the comments, though? Martin asks, if 4.8 million wallets hold 53 billion XRP, how much could hold 10% global population and 32,000 banks worldwide? Well, that's the thing, right? Is you have, what do we have? About, I think it's like 5 billion XRP that Ripple holds that's not in escrow. They have like 5 billion that's in basically their, in their wallets that they can use. And they have another 45 billion XRP in the escrow, right? So right now, what's the circulating supply on XRP? Let me pull this up. So you have 53 billion, right? 53 billion, sure. Yeah, so you have 53 billion, and let's say that Ripple, releases another 20 billion XRP over the next 10 years, right? We get to 70 billion XRP that's actually out into circulating supply. Going past that, you have to understand that my XRP is not up for grabs. Most of my XRP is going to stay in my possession. It might be leveraged or lent out to a liquidity pool, but if it's not lent out to a liquidity pool, then it's not going to be available for liquidity. And even if I do lend it out to a liquidity pool, it'll only be available for that liquidity pool. For example, if I lend out my XRP towards the XRP Bitcoin liquidity pool, it's only available for that liquidity pool. It's not available for XRP USDT. So this is where it gets so interesting when you talk about the circulating supply. The XRP that I'm keeping in cold storage, hidden, locked away forever, that's never going to be circulating, even though in that official $53 billion or 53 billion XRP tally, right? That's considered circulating, even though my XRP isn't circulating. I'm sure that you guys have some XRP that ain't ever going to be circulating, right? I know some of you guys say that you're holding XRP until it goes to $10,000. God bless you. But great question. Great question. Zach, according to the HSBC tokenized gold release, a 1 kilo gold bar will equate to just shy of, it's 0.001 ounces of gold, I believe, is going to be one token. One of their tokens is going to be equal to 0.001 ounces of gold or something like that. And so, they're going to be tokenizing the gold there, HSBC. Very, very interesting deal that they just announced there. And that just shows you where this goes. As you got I thought that the banks didn't care about gold, right? Gold's just an old relic of the past. Who cares? No, couldn't be further from the truth. The central banks are buying more gold than they have in 50 plus years. And as we just saw from HSBC, they're interested in tokenizing gold and offering it to their institutional clients to start with. And then they're going to start to offer it to retail as well. Good questions, though. Good questions, guys. Keep dropping the questions down below. Let's get them answered. $100 XRP is the topic. Let me know if you think that XRP is going to $100 or not. Genuine question. Why are you here spending your time on a Saturday night on an asset you seem to dislike and are not invested in? Desi, no. For those who know, XRP is my largest holding. Other than that, I just am sitting on cash to make more investments. And other than that, I have a few other cryptocurrencies, but that's it. I mean, I'm the most invested in XRP. Full disclosure, I don't own any Ripple stock. And so in tomorrow's update, where I compare Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP, I guess I'm more biased towards XRP because I actually own XRP. I don't own any Ripple equity at this time. But, I try to remain neutral. I try to remain not biased. But Desi, I have a considerable amount of XRP. Big time. As I just said, I'm not selling much of my XRP because I believe and I treat it as a reserve currency. Whether it goes to $10,000 US or not, I will be holding it. And I'm super excited for the AMMs, guys. The AMMs are what launch the next phase of massive utility coming to the XRPL. You thought NFTs were cute? XRP Cafe and Vet, huge shout out. They got their little pictures of mushrooms or whatever they got, their little NFTs. You thought that was cute? You thought that was fun? Just wait. We have massive utility coming to the XRPL. And Jack Dobson says, exactly, the Clarity didn't even push it up 30 cents. We all sat there with our fat bags and watched it do nothing. This coin owes us all bundles for the emotional stress, LOL. And I know you're saying that kind of tongue in cheek, but yeah, I mean, I feel the pain. To me, we're going to get exactly what we are owed. Now, whether you believe that comes from God or not, God bless you. I think that everything that is going to be due to us will be coming in due time, 100%. And I believe that for our community who, you can see there's a lot of people that got too wrapped up. Their whole ego was wrapped up in XRP. And this is why it's been such a frustrating time. For myself, I took advantage of this bear market, of this, opportunity when XRP hasn't been doing anything, to continue building my businesses, looking at real estate. We're looking at private equity, and we're just looking at other deals too, right? Have we been disappointed? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and lie and, try to say, oh, everything's fine, guys. XRP still makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. XRP price doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside, but I also do feel warm and fuzzy inside and pretty dang comfortable with my investment when I take a look at Brad Garlinghouse taking the stage with Gary Gensler from the SEC, along with the rest of the big hitters that are going to be headlining DC FinTech Week before Ripple goes to take over Dubai, one of the financial capitals of the world, where Dubai just gave XRP the green light for XRP. That is what makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Does it relate to XRP price right away? No. But just look at what XRP's done in the past and look at what's going to happen in the future. It's going to move when you least expect it. It's going to melt faces. It's going to make many people cry. It sounds stupid, but it's the truth. Many people will be crying over XRP. They're going to be crying and they're going to be angry and they're going to be frustrated because when XRP is $10 and they go to sell, there's not going to be exchange liquidity, so they won't be able to sell. And so then they're going to be very upset. And then when XRP goes back down to $5, then liquidity's, the exchanges are going to fire back up. They're going to find liquidity, and then folks will be hitting the off ramps as fast as possible. And there's going to be tremendous sell pressure. There's going to be tremendous volatility. It's not going to be over once XRP starts to go up and once XRP reaches a new all-time high. I think there's this idea that we get a flip of the switch event and then XRP remains stable from there on out. I see that, the asset will be stabilized by liquidity being added to it, by value being added to it over time. But until we get significant flows in value represented on the ledger, we have a long ways to go before the price of the underlying asset gets stabilized. And like I said, I don't think that we come back. It's not going to be a full, complete boomerang where XRP goes up to $10 and then we come back down to 50 cents. I don't think that happens. But I do think we go to $10, we bounce off, and then we come back and settle at, $4, $5 before we begin the next run up. But I want our community to be prepared for that. That's what I want for us. Quadrillion-dollar markets means business moving money. Tajdeen, exactly spot on. Folks have no idea what they're talking about when they say, oh, the market cap of Apple, is only at 2.7 trillion, so nothing can surpass that. That's just one company. And the market cap calculation is a facade. The price shouldn't behave like a stock. Yeah, I agree. And it won't. It's going to do much more than stocks, right? If XRP surpasses all-time high soon, you'd be foolish not to cash out your initial investment. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is it doesn't take much for us to be at a price point where we could take our initial investment off the table, and then essentially we're playing with house money. And if that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, then yeah, but that's just it, Christy, is we are going into uncharted territory. Not just for XRP, for gold, for currency devaluations, for commodities. This is going to be a worldwide price discovery for every single asset and commodity that's traded. What if we have no off ramps? Where will we land? Ross, you'll always have the DEX, and the beautiful thing now is that there's being more and more stable coins like USDC, and I think that GateHub has offered a couple others. And now there's basically direct ways to just go from Euro to XRP on the DEX. And so there's going to be some off-ramp liquidity on the DEX, hopefully. But I like to keep my options open, and that's why I have a few different exchanges that I use. So I've always said multiple exchanges. I have a few exchanges listed at my website. If you guys want some resources for exchanges, for wallets, for precious metals, you can get and take a look at that. I keep my options open. I keep relationships, fluid with all of these exchanges, which is very important. You want fluid relationships with exchanges, not just you've opened up an account and put a little bit of money on it. You want to show them that you can put money on, you can take some off, you can put it back on, and you want to build up those limits. Something that I just came across yesterday is I hadn't even realized that in my state, they did pass a 7% capital gains tax. And so now on any investment over $250,000, there are some exemptions, okay? But when you pass $250,000 on your capital gains, you pay a 7% tax in my state now. I didn't even realize that. Now the good thing is I'm putting together a tactical wealth lesson. It's going to be my first tactical wealth lesson, and it's going to be on trust. And part of that conversation is putting our entities where we need to have them for anonymity, asset protection, and also for tax mitigation. And so that's the thing, is I ain't paying my governor an extra 7% when I go to cash out my XRP, right? And they've structured this capital gains tax in a way where, it's supposed to be only at, the rich guys that are making more than $250,000 on capital gains. Well, I mean, holy smokes, that's nothing. That's nothing. And so now I'm have a little fire lit under my butt to get my game up when it comes to some of these asset protection, tax mitigation strategies that we've been talking about. I've already got a significant matter of that under the, that's already been done, but taking it to the next level is kind of my goal for finishing off this year and into next year. Is the asset protection needs to be completed, right? And we want to do this before we come into the money, right? This is why I said it's hard to roll back transactions that are going to have tax implications, right? When you go to hit that sell button, you need to understand, are you going to be paying, are you going to be having to pay tax on that? So there's many ways to do that. This is basically a focus point for us over the coming months. While we're in the middle of a bear market, we have time, right? What can we control? Well, we can control the relationships that we're building out right now with wealth professionals, with accountants, with lawyers that can help us put together not just a will, but a revocable trust, whatever we need to do to put in place to have tax mitigation, to have asset protection, and to also have anonymity, because we're going to have a target on our back. I also think about that too, about how the XRP community is going to be sitting there with the fat target on our back. We're running around with, I'm XRP Zach, and I got a bag of XRP. Well, you ain't finding me, because I'm going to be in hiding. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have that. And that's why I say that, all jokes aside, that's why you have the different entities and you have the trusts set up. So you have layers of asset protection, you have tax mitigation, and you have anonymity so that folks don't even know what assets you own, whether that's property, businesses, or boatloads of XRP. So something to consider. With that being said, guys, I'm going to run. It's been an absolute pleasure running it up with you guys here tonight. And like I said, tomorrow morning, we have a Ripple IPO versus XRP. We're going to compare those investment opportunities. So make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. That's going to be dropping tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you stay tuned for that. And then if you want to get tapped in with our private group, we have our Patreon Discord community. You sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. And this is one of the only places to get in touch with me, by the way, besides my website. That's the only place to get in touch with me. Tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping my first tactical wealth lesson, and the topic is going to be on trusts. So we're going to be talking about trusts. We're going to be talking about this asset protection, tax mitigation, and anonymity, so folks don't even know that we own the XRP, the real estate, the business, and we can protect it, avoid taxes, and hand it on down to the children. Or if you have a revocable trust, your child doesn't behave, well, you can change the trust and take them out if you so please. So our first tactical wealth lesson, one of many that's going to be coming down the way for our private group. And there's a reason why. I can talk more about specific deals that I'm looking at in the private group, and then I can talk more about what I'm doing. And then for legal reasons, I can't talk about all of the equity deals that I'm looking at, and I can't talk about all of these things on the public platforms here. So that's why we have to move some of these conversations over to the private group. I've had multiple conversations already about Ripple equity in the private group. Tomorrow is going to be my first kind of public video that I'm dropping on Ripple pre-IPO versus XRP. Once again, I'm not here to be your financial advisor. And you guys know that I'm interested in both investment opportunities. But make sure you guys go check out that one. And then if you want to get tapped in with our private group, where you can get additional educational content on investments, on business, on wealth protection, that's all over at my website, ZachRector.com. And by the way, guys, go check out the new website. ZachRector.com has been updated, fresh new look. It's really clean. And so there might be a couple typos or something I got to go double check still. It's all brand new, but let me know what you guys think of the new website. Go check it out. And that's the only place to get in touch with me, is through the website, ZachRector.com, or get in our private group and you'll have direct access to me at all times. Appreciate you guys so much. If you haven't already, please tap it on the way out, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless.